Do you ever have leftover bananas that have turned brown and you're not sure what to do with them? Well, today I have the solution for you. We are going to be making banana bread and banana muffins, two different variations and ways that you can use the bananas in your cooking. First up, we are going to make banana bread. And the reason I am deciding to do two different variations of banana bread or banana muffins is because I had 6 bananas that started to go brown. I threw them in the freezer because I knew I wanted to make banana bread. So one batch only calls for 3 bananas. And so that's why I'm doing 2 batches, because I have 6 bananas. So we're basically doubling the recipe, but I'm doing 1 batch at a time. So up first, we have our butter, and you want it softened. You want to either have it set out on the counter for a little while, or you can pop it in the microwave, which is what I did, just to get it not so hard, because you want to be able to easily cream it together and mix. Plug my mixer in. And watch when you plug your beaters in that you don't like slide this on accident. I've done that before, and then my hand's like right here and it starts going and I'm like, ah! So just be careful of that. But we're gonna cream the butter. And I am not using sugar in this recipe, so if you would like to add sugar, you can, and you would want to add that at the same time that you're creaming your butter. So you want to cream the sugar and the butter together. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to kill this fly. This fly has been in our house bothering us for the past 2 days. It's so annoying. I think I'm gonna have to kill it before I continue. So after we cream our butter, and that's just getting it to be really nice and smooth, we are going to add our bananas, our eggs. We want 2 eggs, and this time, to avoid getting shells in my batter, I'm gonna put it in this glass first, and then I'll transfer it. So you live and you learn. I mean, I learned that a while ago, you know, in school they tell you, put the egg in a different container and then transfer it, but you get so like into baking that you just forget and you're like, oh, I don't need to do that. And then the one time, get a bunch of shells in there. Once your bananas and eggs are well beaten together, then we'll add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we'll go ahead and mix again. So up next is 1½ cups of all-purpose flour. I try to add it in a little bit at a time, mix it up, and then go back, add more, mix it up, just so if you throw everything in there at once, it tends to like poof, have a flour poof, and then it's all over your face and all over your kitchen. So a little bit at a time. It's already starting to get thicker. So you want to clean the edges of your paddles and then also of your bowl. So I'm going to give my bowl a good scrape through just to make sure I'm getting all that flour and just everything incorporated. And then next up we have our baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Oh yeah, that looks good. Once we get this all incorporated, we're now gonna add our last element, the chocolate chips. And you can add more or less chocolate chips to whatever your preference is. I'm doing about 1 cup of chocolate chips. So this is what you want your batter to look like, and then it's all mixed together, and we will add it to some muffin tins. Or actually, I'm gonna do the banana bread, so we'll do some bread tins first. I I did go ahead and clean up the countertop, and then I also got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. So while we wait for that to heat up, we're gonna add our batter into our tins. I have been using these smaller tins for banana bread for quite a while now. The large tin, if you put this all in like one big loaf, seems we don't tend to eat through all of it right away, and then half of it goes moldy. So I really like these smaller tins because you can eat a little bit at a time, you can save a couple in the freezer, and so it seems like we eat this all if I do the smaller tins versus like a big loaf. I'm gonna spray these down so they don't stick. And I'm also gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour in the tins as well. The last time I made this, I didn't sprinkle the flour, and I'm using 100% pure avocado spray. And most baking cooking sprays have a little bit of, I don't know what the ingredient is, but it's something in there that like helps it really not stick. Maybe it's flour. Anywho, so it has an ingredient in there that helps it really not stick, and so you don't have to use flour. But I've found if you use avocado oil spray, you do want to sprinkle a little bit of flour in your tins before putting it in there, because otherwise the bottom tends to stick to the bottom of the pan. And just not a lot, just a little bit to lightly coat the surface. Now we will add our batter to our tins. Oops. I'm in the Midwest, and this weekend has been over 90 degrees. It is so hot and humid outside. We got a ton of rain in the spring, and then now it's just hot and humid. I think we're supposed to get like a storm tonight that hopefully will be kind of making cooler temps, so it won't be in the 90s for so long. I don't know. I like the heat of summer, but sometimes that humidity and heat can just, it's enough for me. I'm not a southern girly. I couldn't do like almost all year round with just heat. And also with these smaller tins, you want to bake it for a little less time. I typically start it at 30 to 35 minutes. I'll test it with a toothpick, see how they're doing, and then if it needs like 5 additional minutes, go 5 minutes, check it again. So just an FYI, if you do have smaller pans, loaf pans that you want to use, don't do a full like 45 minutes to an hour, because that'll burn them and then it'll make it really dry. Our 3 loaf pans are full, and so I'm gonna throw these in the oven. Like I said, starting out at 30 minutes. While we wait for those to bake, I'm going to clean up again. I like to clean as I go, otherwise it's just a crazy mess at the end. And I'm gonna whip together the second batch of banana bread muffin mix that we're gonna use for the muffins. So, see you back here soon. That's looking good. Only about 6 minutes left on the bread. We have 4 minutes left on the bread that's in the oven now, so I'm gonna work on getting our muffins in here. And I'm using the little mini muffin tin because I'm gonna use these for just an easy snack with my toddler, and then also, you know, if I want some. But this size is just so nice to use for little kids. And I have not had an issue with it sticking in this pan with just this, so I'm not gonna flour this. We'll see how it goes this time, but last time I did it, it did not stick. I also only used half a cup of chocolate chips in this recipe for the muffins versus in the bread I used a whole cup of chocolate chips. I did that because I didn't want as much chocolate in these little mini ones since I'm gonna give them to my toddler. And you know, they don't need any extra sugar. They already get enough as it is, and then they just have so much energy anyways. So, and this little cookie scoop is technically what this is. Works perfectly to fill your muffin tins with, whether you're making banana muffins or cupcakes. These little scoops are awesome. It looks like I'm gonna have a little extra, so I am gonna make a couple regular size muffins, and I'm gonna get my muffin tin out for that. And for this one, I got out some cupcake liners that I'm gonna use because honestly, these are the worst things to clean. Just trying to get in all these grooves. So I'm gonna go to my good old trusty cupcake liners for my muffins. Because even though these are nice non-stick pans, stuff still sticks in there. Okay, that might be enough. I don't have that much left in here. All right, we're gonna throw these in the oven, and I'm only gonna put these in there for probably 18 minutes just because they're smaller. Don't wanna overcook these. Okay, moment of truth. Are they gonna stick to the pan? Let's hope not. All right, let's see how these turned out. And this is a recipe that goes back, at least to my mom. She made it all the time, still does growing up, but we always had banana bread. If we had leftover bananas that went bad, like brown, then we would make banana bread. Which, thinking about that now, whenever you say, oh, my bananas went bad, really, they actually went good, I think, because that's usually the only time I eat bananas is in banana bread or after they've really gotten ripe. And they're technically a lot sweeter when they're super ripe. That's why you want ripe, really ripe bananas. Oops, these are coming out real nicely. My goodness, can y'all see that? I'll get you an up close view, but these look so good. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. The smell of banana bread, I want that in the candle. It smells so good. These muffins look good. They're all done. I probably could have put a little less filling in these smaller muffin tins and then had more bigger size muffins, but oh well, I'm not gonna complain. They are a little puffy and they did come up a little bit outside of the normal muffin area, but it's fine. It's just for us. It's just for family. Let's see how these do. They smell so good. Whew. Oh yeah. I'm gonna let these cool off for a little bit and then I'll take them out of the pan. So these are coming out really nicely. I did have one that kind of stuck on the bottom, but I'll eat that one. Just won't give it to people. And these are also really cost effective. So I know a lot of people like to buy the store-bought little mini muffins for like $12 a box or whatever they are. But this, I'll have to do the math. But I know it has to be cheaper than those little mini muffins because bananas, you buy bananas, that's probably the most expensive thing. And then there's flour, baking soda, all the things we put together, you usually buy in bulk. And if you break that down, these would be a lot cheaper than buying a bunch of already made, prepackaged banana muffins. And then you know like what's in these. There's no artificial food dyes, there's no extra added sugars. You can control kind of what's going in your food. Ta-da! All right, now we got lots of muffins and banana bread. And I'm gonna try one of these. I'll just go ahead and try the one that fell apart. So good. So moist. They really are though. And I'm not shocked. I make this recipe all the time. I've always loved it, but it is so good. Now the bread, since we have the muffins, I'm gonna go ahead and package up the bread and we'll put those in the freezer. And we'll just, then I can take one out at the beginning of the, like next week or whenever we want one, eat it throughout the week and we have 2 more. These are also a great option if you have someone who just had a baby and they're in postpartum. Make them some banana bread. You can make them the mini ones or the loaves. Easy. I can say when I was postpartum, breakfast was the hardest for me to eat because when you wake up, you don't know whether it's still nighttime or morning because you're so tired. And making breakfast is like the hardest part to make because baby just wants to be held. You're still tired. You don't have energy. And you don't want to just buy donuts because that's full of sugary stuff that's not going to sustain you and be good for your breast milk supply and all that stuff. So this is a great option to make your friends if they are postpartum and just had a baby. I loved it when I was in that stage. The recipe is linked in the description below. Make sure to try it out. Let me know what you guys think, if you love it, if you have a recipe that you prefer, or just whatever. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear from you guys, and make sure to come back and check out the next video. Thanks, y'all.